Hi guys, welcome to this Kinetic GMM training. So today we are going to talk about cloud gateway management systems provided by Cisco. So my name is Johan Ahrens, I'm a network designer at Cisco Systems. So the value of IoT, we are keeping saying this is around the data. So but we have multiple challenges to get access to the data. So this is really challenging because we want to keep security up and running in the system. So we want to take ownership of the data. We want to make sure there was some privacy and security, and that we want to be able to fast start to grow over time. And this is one of the challenge. So the thing is, we have multiple connection all over the place, and we need to manage this, and this is going to be a challenge, especially if we want to connect everything. We want to have security everything, so we want to make sure everything is secure, and then the privacy is has been taken care of. And with today's situation, we cannot deploy anything without thinking about security, unless it's going to be a disaster. And then we want to be able to optimize the data, meaning we want to be to filter out the data, because this is not everything that is interesting. This is worthwhile to be transported or to be sent to the data center and to be stored. So we have a few challenges. We have identified a few challenges that we have actually siloed a few challenges over here. So the first silo is the complexity of connecting and securing devices. So this is not always easy to get access to data. Most of the time this is disparate systems, so talking multiple protocols like BACnet, for example, Modbus, SCADA, that kind of things, and we have multiple esoteric protocols that are running out there. So we need to be able to use this to extract the data and to put the data in the right format. So most of the time this is highly distributed environment. So let's imagine we need to connect a fleet of vehicles. I have 500 trucks and I want to connect them so that the trucks are moving. This is challenging to get access to the data of the trucks, or we have some very large plants, and the connectivity is not always there. So this is not always the case. We have a Cat6 or optical fiber somewhere in the plants where the things are connected. And we have dynamics and evolving needs. So the pace of innovation is very high today, saying that we have new needs on everyday basis, and as soon as we're gonna have access to data, we're gonna have some new ideas, and we're gonna need some flexibility to address those and to bring the new innovations in the field. And finally, we need to have a complete visibility and control over our things, because we have to know what's going on with the equipment, what's going on with the data. We have to have visibility. This is really important, and we need to make sure the right data in the right place at the right time. So to move forward, Cisco can help you addressing those problems. This is what I'm going to show you with GMM, and in the later videos with EFM. This is another Kinetic product. So we are the only company that delivers end-to-end networking, software, and security. So under the same company. So this is our bread and butter. This is what we do for a living. So we are going to turn your network in the distributed edge computing. So we are going to allow you to run application, to run some code, to extract data in your networking equipment. So this is what I'm going to show you, and that's going to give you a greater control of your data and to address multiple problems like latency, bad connectivity, that kind of stuff. So the file computing has been made for that. So then, how do we address problems? And if we get back to the challenges I've identified 2 slides ago. So to securely connect your IoT devices, extract and normalize the data, we're going to use our gateways or switches. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk about gateways. because this is all about GMM. Actually, this is a gateway management system. So that system is going to help you managing the devices that are running in your IoT network in the field. So the gateway is going to establish tunnels for management and for data transport to secure the devices. And we can identify all the devices that are running behind the gateway and see the gateway as a firewall. So if the gateway is connected to the internet, there are the things that are going to be isolated from the public network. So the gateways are going to help you to address the highly distributed environments, because those gateway can use 4G or LTE connectivity and to get the data extracted. So it's going to help you to scale, and we are going to allow you to run some custom applications in the gateway. So we are going to reserve you a little bit of CPU in the gateway. So I'm going to talk about this in the next slides. So regarding the flexibility, the GMM is actually a platform to help you deploying applications. So if you create some new application to address some new needs, so you need to upgrade an existing application, you can use GMM to do this and to allow you to transport the data. GMM is also an MQTT broker, so that is centrally placed for you, and then you can structure the data the way you want. So your application can expose their data over MQTT topics, and to allow you to distribute and to structure the data for future consumption. If you need to have an idea what MQTT can do for you, I've recorded another video. This is available today on YouTube, so go ahead and watch it. This is all you need to know about MQTT. Finally, we need to have a complete visibility and control, and the GMM is all about this. So it is actually a monitoring system that is going to help you to manage and to have visibility over what's going on with your gateways and what's going on with the application and the things that are running behind the gateway. So if we have a look on an IoT system, so this is just an example, but this is a system with multiple layers. Let's say we have a bunch of equipment or gateways are running over an LTE network. So we're going to use Kinetic to provision the gateways, so the configuration and all those stuff, and deploying applications is going to be done with this. We're going to use Jasper, for example, to manage your LTE connection. So Jasper is a piece of software that is running in the service provider network. So it's going to help you to create some policies to manage your 4G connections, and actually to help you avoiding or overbilling, because one device is utilize the network, so that kind of stuff. So we are going to use Kinetic to extract, to capture and to extract the data, and to put in a usable format. So we can use business rules to create and to execute or distribute the microservice architecture. So this is a fog computing actually. So meaning we can actually do the extraction and normalization in the gateway, and then we can push the data in the data center. That's what it means actually. Then we can use Kinetic to do the data visualization and inspection. So this is your custom dashboard you're going to create to visualize the data. And then we can use Kinetic to normalize, to put the data in the data model, and to expose the data to some APIs. For example, you can decide to route the data to an artificial intelligence system, so just like IBM Watson or Microsoft Azure, depending on the use cases, one or the other is better. So you can decide based on the value of the data or the nature of the data to route the data to one or the other. So just to wrap this up, so we can help you secure connecting the device with the Kinetic GMM. We're going to use Kinetic EFM to extract data from its sources. The compute of data at the edge or in the data center is going to be done by EFM, by Kinetic EFM, and then we can use this to move the data to the right apps. So the Kinetic GMM is going to be covered by another video. It's going to be released in the next week. So just to have an idea, this is actually the IoT World Forum reference model. So this is multi-layer model as well. So we were starting with the physical devices on layer 1, and we provide the connectivity, the edge computing, the data accumulation, the data center, abstraction, application reporting, collaboration process, and stuff like that. So what we play with, Kinetic is playing from the layer 2 to 5, and actually GMM is playing in the layers 2 and 3. So to give you an idea of the gateways, actually, so we have multiple models. I'm going to toss this video. So we have the various models with various capabilities. So keep in mind, those equipment are organized, or they were made to be used in a harsher environment. So we are talking about extreme temperature, so in the cold or in the heat, it depends, but actually this is they were made for this. Those equipments are ruggedized, and they are actually ardent. So we conceived those equipment while thinking about how they're going to be used, and most of those equipment are going to be used in unattended areas. So we need to protect the devices against tampering. So everything is hard, and I'm going to talk about security a little bit later in the next slide. So keep in mind, we have multiple devices. I'm not going to cover all the differences between the gateways, because this is not the object of this presentation, but don't hesitate to reach out with your Cisco sales representative to get an idea what device do what, and what device is the best for your deployments. So just to move forward, so we have multiple actually use cases we can use for this, and I'm going to move this a little bit. So those are just examples what you could do, but I think you will get the idea. This is self-explanatory. So we can use those equipment in vehicles to provide connectivity to people or to machine, for machine-to-machine communication, as an example. So over here we have a trooper that can use its laptop, and there is a license plate recognition system. So as we have a tunnel that was brought up by the gateway to the data center of the police station, and so we can validate the license plate and do some more auto validation. It's as the vehicle being certified, and this is required in some area of the planet. So as the taxes were paid for that vehicle, that kind of stuff, for driving license renewed, that kind of stuff, we can automatically validate this, and this is done through the connectivity provided by the gateway and GMM. So this is what we can do with this. And keep in mind, everything is been done with the GMM, so you don't need to hire a bunch of people to manage those new equipment on your network. It's going to be done by GMM. That is over here. So we can use it for public safety, utility field services, to provide some connectivity, or remote machinery. Let's say this is an area of the plant there is no connectivity, so we can use the gateway to establish a tunnel through the LTE network, and then the tunnel is going to be terminated in your data center to provide the connectivity, or to bring the data to a third party. Let's say this is a make of the robot, and then this is the data center of those folks. We can also use it for a remote site kiosk. Let's say we're gonna have a ticketing system, so we can provide the connectivity for the SAT machine, that kind of stuff. So keep in mind, GMM is always establishing a tunnel with the GMM cloud for management purposes, and then optionally you can put together a tunnel to your data center. So I'm going to show you this in the demo section. Okay, so just to change gear, let's talk a little bit about security. So Just to give you an idea how the gateways are architectured. So we have the hardware. On top of the hardware, we are going to lay out an hypervisor. So the hypervisor is going to be used to provide resources to the gateway and to the guest operating system. So this is the Linux version, the Linux virtual machine we're going to use to deploy your applications. And we have iOS and iOS. For those who are not familiar with this is the Cisco operating system operating switches and routers. So this is another virtual machine in the system. So the hypervisor is going to secure actually resources for iOS, or reserve some CPU memory for this instance, and thereafter is going to be assigned to the guest operating system, so where you can deploy application. So on top of this, we are taking advantage of the TPM chip. And for those of you that are not very familiar with what the TPM chip is, this is actually the trusted platform module. And the TPM chip is actually, this is a system that is going to allow some piece of code to run on an equipment. So this is based on certificate and signature. So to be allowed to run something, as an example, to run an iOS or the guest operating system, those operating system needs to be signed by Cisco. So this is the way it works. So it prevents anyone tampering with the equipment to run any random operating system on that equipment. So this is hardened. And this is a key differentiator with the industrial PC you can buy on the market. So you can run off-the-shelf operating system just like Windows or Linux, Ubuntu. But the thing is, nothing is if someone can break the password, the security of that device, nothing is preventing those folks to run anything on this equipment. So that equipment is going to be compromised very easily. With the TPM chip, this is much harder to get access to the equipment to run anything. So we are talking about code injection, that kind of stuff. So this is the same for application. You will run in the guest operating system. Those applications need to be signed, and there is a way to do this. If you want to have your custom application, you will be able to sign your own application. So based on this, the gateway is going to be allowed to run your application. The hardware itself is hardened, so those routers are gonna be running in unattended area. So this is really mandatory to harden those equipment against anyone who wants to tamper that equipment. So we have various mechanisms. So everything is encrypted, everything is signed with the TPM chip. And as an example, we have a gyroscope in those equipment. So if that equipment is supposedly to be static, so with the gyroscope you could detect if someone is trying to tamper with the equipment, because the gyroscope is going to report some movement. We also have dry contacts on the router, on the gateway. So as an example, we can put the dry contact on the door of the panel where the equipment is installed. So that kind of stuff. So keep in mind, everything is hardened, and this is key differentiator. With industrial PC, you can find off the shelf. Those equipment can be industrial PC can be provided with multiple network interfaces. Yes, you can run VPNs on it, but keep in mind everything is done in software, and in the dedicated network equipment, there was always a crypto chip to encrypt and to decrypt packets. So this is done in hardware, and this is going to affect performance, and the performance is going to be greater because of the chip. If everything is done in software, it's going to affect greatly the performance of the tunnels. So just to move forward, we're gonna have a look on GMM actually, and this is the landing page of the dashboard. I'm going to toss this a little bit. So This is a landing page, so that you can see, or you can have an idea for the health of your gateways. I have 1 up, 2 down, so we are going to drill down into this. And this is the same for applications. I have 3, those are running, stopped or failed, so you can have an idea. You can have an idea where your equipment are located. So we have 2 in Granby at in my home, and 1 that was previously detected at the office in Montreal, and that you can see with the red circle is because that equipment is down. Okay, so we can go ahead and to zoom in onto the gateway. So here we can see which one is down, which one is up, so I can filter out nail down the 1 down equipment, that kind of stuff. So just to give you an idea, the onboard process is really simple. So you have to click on the claim gateway or button over here. You enter the serial number. It's not gonna work because those serial are not actually active. So we can select the model. We can select the model, and then we can select the group that equipment is going to belong to. This is optional. I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes. So we are not going to click on next because it's not going to work, because the serial number is not valid. But keep in mind, in the next panel you're going to select the configuration to apply to that equipment, and this is based on template, and I'm going to show you how to create templates as what's inside the template. Then we can select the application to deploy on those gateways, and to can review and submit. So this is how it's going to be done. So I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to say yes. Okay. All right, so regarding configuration, so we can zoom on the templates. So we have actually 3 default templates, 1 for each model, and actually I'm going to zoom on the 809. So we can actually, and the configuration is really simple. There was not much to select actually, and why we have done this, and actually we wanted to focus on simplicity. So this is just the same thing as you will use with Meraki. So if you are familiar with this, so this is based on simplicity. So as an example, if I want to activate the LTE, I just have to provide the APN. So the APN, this is a piece of information you need from your service provider to activate an 4G connectivity. So I'm not going to do it because it's not actually it's not gonna work. So if you want to have a site-to-site VPN, so meaning you want to establish a VPN to your data center, so this is the way you can do it. You can have up to 2. So keep in mind, FlexVPN is going to be supported anytime soon, and DMVPN is going to be supported and across next year. So you can decide if you want to provide some custom subnets. If you don't, there was a default one that is that's going to be provided to that equipment. GMM is going to choose the subnet. We can enable or choose whether to enable the LAN port or not, or the GPS or yes or not. So this is pretty much what you can do. Now we can have a look on the gateway. So so here, this is the monitoring section we're gonna see. So and here is a summary of the equipment. This is the software version. This is iOS version. The iOS version is actually the guest operating system, and actually this is all the details about that gateway and the address you have statically set the gateway. So we can monitor the LTE connectivity. So there was nothing here because this is not activated in the system. We can see the config that was applied to the equipment. So this is reflecting the template. Actually, we can see with the diagnostic what we can see here. We can run some comments. So if I'm running this, so you will see we are going to send some iOS comments. For those who are familiar with iOS, this is the IP interface configuration and the routing table that's showing up over here. We can test the connectivity with the guest operating system of the gateway itself. We can test the network with ping and trace route, and then we can turn on some debugs. So this is pretty much a standard thing we will do if we will have access to the command line of the gateway. So we have an event log. This is per gateway. Actually, you can see what's going on and what we have done in the gateway in GMM regarding this equipment. And actually, and this is pretty much it. What you can do with this, and I'm going to talk about the apps and devices in a few minutes. So now I was talking about the fog applications. You can use GMM to deploy your application in your gateways. So actually here I've uploaded a few applications to GMM, and actually this is the first step to do. Once your application is going to be created, you can upload it over here. So EFF is it's a piece of software coming from Cisco. This is the fog module for EFM, and I'm going to talk about this in the next videos. Mosquitoes is one I've created from a Docker application that I created a Docker container to run Mosquito. Mosquito is an MQTT server. This is open source. Actually, this is just an example. So I converted that Docker to our fog applications, and I uploaded it over here. And I've created a GPS application. This is another Docker written in Python to extract the GPS information. So now I want to, let's say I want to deploy this this Mosquito or a container to my gateway. So I can hit install, and I can select the type of gateway I want to apply this to, and I can actually select by the groups. The group, this is the way you can deploy your application by grouping your gateways together. So at the same time, actually this is up to you. The name is up to you. After this is my lack of imagination, so I selected A09, but it could be any string you want. And then you can hit install, and the application is going to be installed in the next minutes to the gateway. So based on this, we can monitor what's going on with that application, so we can see the resources I've reserved for that specific application. The reason why we do this is to avoid application to fight for resources, so we can avoid any over provisioning of resources in the gateways. So this is just to give you an idea who has created the application. This is Docker app type, and I've created that application. And actually this is a version. I can upgrade it if I want to, and I can manage all the instances running. So here there was only one, but if I will have multiple, I could hit this button, and I could actually do stop, start, refresh app, and install, and so forth and so on. Sorry. So this is how I will address the groups. Now, if I want to troubleshoot the gateway and to do something very, more custom for that specific instance, I could go ahead and to zoom onto this gateway, and I can monitor the application. And if I want to, I can extract the log, because that specific application has a problem, for as an example, and I can extract the log from the container, or I can extract the log from the watchdog, and the watchdog is just making sure that the Docker application is running. This is what we can do over here. So just to change gear now, I want to show you what we can do to manage the devices that are running behind your gateway. So this is what we can do under the device option over here. So we can use the discover devices tool to discover what is running behind the gateway. So this is actually something I've done previously. So I've identified one equipment that I call my laptop. This is an old laptop, and this is the IP address that was discovered, and the MAC address of that equipment. And actually, as we have a broker, an MQTT broker in GMM, so each application is provided a prefix topic, so we can use this to allow the application to expose its data over MQTT. So, and some other equipment could subscribe to those data. So, meaning, if you need an MQTT environment to expose your data, to subscribe your data, to allow people and systems to consume the data, you don't need to deploy one. This is going to be done by GMM. So this is the purpose of this. So the next piece I want to touch is to show you how we can use GMM to manage whatever is behind the gateway. So we have a great feature that is called VPN. So if you select one gateway and then you hit VPN over here. So this is actually a VPN system that is provided by GMM to allow you to have access to have IP reachability with the equipment running behind the gateway. So here how it's gonna work. So you're gonna have to download AnyConnect. This is pretty much the only thing you're gonna need to do, and to configure AnyConnect with those parameters. So the remote access server, username and password, and then you are going to establish a tunnel with the GMM cloud, and the GMM cloud is going to establish a tunnel on your behalf to the gateway. So this is what we're gonna do. So here this is my AnyConnect. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to use copy paste because I'm lazy. So where it is here. So I'm going to get rid of this, connect, user and password. So this is my user, so I'm going to use this, and the password, actually the password is hidden. If you need to click on the icon over here to get access to, and this is asking for your credentials. This is your user and password for GMM. In my case, this is saved in my safe, and I'm going to extract this. This is my Kinetic, so I can do this. There we go. All right, so here is my password, and I'm going to do this. All right, so my VPN established, so this is working, clicking anywhere. So I'm going to get back to my GMM, to my devices, because I have a goldfish type memory, and I didn't draw, I can't remember the IP address of my laptop over here. So now this is done, I can go back over here and I can say, okay, can I ping this equipment? So yeah, I can ping it. Okay, great. Can I have IP connectivity over here? And I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to do a quick connect. IP address, Johan is my username, and actually is going to ask for my password in any minute. There it is. There we go. So we are in. So if I do a uname, this is a Linux, and if I do this, I'm gonna see this is on old Ubuntu or Ubuntu distribution. So this is working. All right. So I'm going to turn off this forks, and then I'm going to ping again, and then you see the ping is not working anymore, the tunnel is not there anymore. So this is the way we can manage the devices. This is a great tool because we can have access to anything that is running behind the gateway, and it allows you to do such troubleshooting. Here this is just an example with SSH, but if it will be a Windows, you could use an RDP session, that kind of stuff, to troubleshoot the situation over here. So just to wrap this up, so we have seen how we can use GMM to help you deploying your IoT projects. So how we can use GMM to deploy multiple gateways. It could be several hundreds of your gateways. You can use this the system to group together the gateways to deploy application, and to discover what's going on and what is living behind the gateways if we need to do some troubleshooting. And then we can see we have a greater visibility over what's going on with the gateway. So I hope you find this video useful. If you do, please go ahead and like it. If you have any questions or comments or something missing in the presentation, so don't hesitate to comment in YouTube. So and I will follow up with this. If you want to have access to the slides, don't hesitate to ask for it in the comment section. I'll be providing a link. All right. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.